And welcome to Farm to Home this morning. We have Thomas McDowell, registered pharmacist with Rocky Mount Medical Park Pharmacy, back with us today.
Thanks,
Glad to have
Sandra.
you back.
Glad to be here.
But you were on an important mission last time.
Yeah, we took the family down to Orlando, went to Disney, had a work trip, so hate that I missed Farm to Home, but I'm excited to be back, and it feels like we're running straight into winter, so we've got a lot of things happening this time of year.
Yes.
In the healthcare realm and pharmacy
Yes.
in general, so we'll dive right in. We're going to be talking about
Yes.
Medicare Part D.
And I'm going to let Thomas talk about that in its entirety because I know nothing about it.
And it's a big topic. We'll try to, talk about everything we can. We might have to do it again sometime before open enrollment's over. So the reason that it's a timely topic is because we're getting into the thick of Medicare annual open enrollment.
Yes.
Which is October 15th through December 7th. And if you haven't heard of that time period, it's the primary time where you as a Medicare beneficiary can switch Medicare drug plans or Medicare Advantage plans. So
Yes.
You're probably getting a ton of calls and solicitations from folks all over the country trying to sell you something, and you're probably wondering, what should I do? Do I need to do something? So we're going to try to give you some great information to understand what your options are and how you can navigate open enrollment and
Yes.
just some Medicare background. So, there's a lot of different Medicare plans, and just to start with, when you turn 65, you typically automatically get Medicare Part A, which covers hospital stays and nursing home stays with limitations on those, but that's what it's designed for, and usually that's free if you've paid into that program with your Medicare taxes over the
Right.
years. Then there's also Medicare Part B, as in boy, which you do have to enroll in. That's not automatic, and you do have to pay for that. And so that's typically about $164, $165 a month. And that's for your outpatient medical bills,
Okay.
doctor's office bills, outpatient surgeries, anything that's not inpatient hospital typically.
Which is going to be your primary
Yeah.
expenses because going to the doctor is ongoing.
You're trying to
So-
avoid the hospital visits,
Yes,
and so the
absolutely.
Part B
the
is
outpatient is
more of your
is
preventative
important.
and maintenance type visits. And then there's also Part D, as in dog or drug, and so Part D is you have to sign up for that separately as well, and that's your prescription drug coverage that helps pay for your drugs at the pharmacy. And then a lot of times folks will sign up for a Medicare supplement, which is when you hear people talking about Plan F and G.
Yes.
And what that does is that helps pick up the 20% that Medicare does not pay on Part A and B. So if you have just Part A and B and D and no supplement, and you go to the hospital and have a $100,000 bill, you'll owe $20,000. So there's a lot of exposure there if you don't have a supplement. So we typically tell folks if they're going this route, A and B and D, to also get a supplement, because then you won't have to worry about those big hospital bills,
Right.
if God forbid something happens and you have a big bill.
Right.
But there's also Medicare Advantage, so that's Part C, just to make it more complicated. That's where you waive Part A and B essentially, and you don't need a Part D plan typically. And Part C covers medical, hospital, and drugs all in one.
Oh, okay.
So there's kind of two avenues you can go down. And so that's usually what you're dealing with when you first turn 65.
Okay.
Talk to somebody, come talk to us at the pharmacy, talk to an insurance agent if you have a good relationship with them. But we can really help you navigate, especially on the drug side and Medicare Advantage
Yes.
and Part D especially. And so,
And I would suggest, Thomas, not to interrupt you,
you're
but
fine.
these people that call you on the phone, you don't know them. You don't know who they are, who they're with. Deal local. I mean,
Yeah.
that's another service y'all provide. They deal with drugs. The pharmacies deal with drugs all the time. So for your Part D, I would
Yeah,
it's a service y'all provide.
And Part D came around in 2005 or so. We've been doing Medicare reviews almost ever since. So we do hundreds of them every year. We try to provide, information and education versus if you're getting those calls, on your home phone and they're trying to sell you something, you don't always know, are they telling you all of your options or are they just trying to sell you what is best for them? And what's best for their needs and not your needs. So talk to somebody locally, and we're happy to help at Medical Park Pharmacy with the free Medicare plan review. So that's something we can offer, and it's really important to look at it every year. So we talked about enrolling when you're 65, so that's a lot going on there.
Right.
Talk to us then too. We can help you with that. We do that all the time. But also it's good to look at your plan every open enrollment period because the plans change pretty significantly each year. So copays change, premiums change, deductibles change. Just because the plan you signed up for back in 2006 was the best then, it does not mean it's the best now.
Well, situations do change from year to year, and even if you can't think of what might have changed, you still need to get it assessed every year. Is that correct,
Yeah,
Thomas?
I would recommend looking at it, and the pharmacy is a great place to start, and just especially when you're talking about the drugs. The medical side usually doesn't change quite as drastically, but it still can change. The drugs are what really change every year. Tiers change, generics come out, formularies change, and prices of drugs change. There's just a lot of complexity on the drug side. So looking at that plan each year, so you don't get surprised, January 1st with trying to get your insulin, and they don't cover it anymore.
Right.
They cover this brand and not this brand. You have to wait for the doctor to send a new prescription. There might be a lapse in you having your insulin. So knowing what's coming is key.
Yes.
So preparation. So a lot of times we'll take a look and we'll say, hey, this looks great. Just you don't have to do anything. The plans do automatically continue unless you change or unenroll.
Well, you've almost got to have Plan D. The
Yeah.
cost of drugs now, I mean, some of the drugs are what?
Thousands.
Can be $700, $800, $900, $1,000. I mean, you don't want to be shocked like that and have to say, well, I'm not going to be able to get that drug. No.
And you
that's
bring
what
up,
Plan D is for.
You bring up a great point there because I do have a lot of people, when they'll turn 65, they tell me or they're just thinking maybe they don't talk to anybody. I don't take any drugs. I don't need Part D.
Right.
And that's great, that you don't take any.
Right.
That's a blessing. But the reason you should consider getting in one, you don't have to, but you should consider because I look at it like car insurance. If you don't get in one, you cannot enroll in a plan mid-year typically. You have to wait until this open enrollment period.
And then something comes up.
Yep.
Oh, you're diabetic now.
Yep.
Oh, you're
Yep. You have
this
stroke
now, you're
or heart
that.
attack.
What am I going to do? I didn't sign up.
And so you might get put on a really expensive drug in January, and you can't sign up for a plan until
That would be
October,
scary.
and it wouldn't start till next January. And so you might be on the hook for a $500-$600 blood thinner to help prevent strokes after you've already had a stroke. So, and then another reason to heavily consider signing up for one, even if you don't take many or any medications, is at some point you probably will. As you age, most folks, there's a very small percentage of folks that don't ever have to take a prescription drug. And as we age, we typically have to take more. If you don't sign up for a plan and then you do later in life, you will be penalized a percent for every month you did not have a plan on your premium. So your premium will be significantly higher for that drug plan just because you did not sign up for one. So, when you look at that and you're thinking, I don't want to pay for that monthly premium. Well, if you end up getting it in the future, you're probably going to pay for what you weren't paying to begin with.
Absolutely.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
So it kind of comes back around. So look at it like a preventative measure, car insurance. You're not planning on having an accident, but stuff happens. So that's really important to look at on the drugs. And when we're looking at the plans, we're really focused on, your out-of-pocket for the year. And so premiums, copays, deductibles all come into play. And a big change, there's been some changes. The Inflation Reduction Act had a lot of new changes for Medicare and Medicare Part D. Specifically, the new dollar amount that you have to hit before you get into the donut hole. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of Medicare folks have heard of the donut hole. That's a coverage gap where when between what you spend and what your plan spends reaches a certain threshold, you're responsible for a higher amount of your copay, which is, it really hits people hard because you might see
Right.
a copay jump from 47 to 150, and that's a pretty big difference for somebody on a fixed income.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And so the new rule this year is that total amount is $46.60.
46.
So $4,660, and that's what you spend plus what the plan spends total. When it reaches that amount, you're responsible for 25% of the total drug cost, and so that you might see some higher copays at that point. And another good benefit is there is a max out of pocket finally for Medicare, and it's $8,000. So at that point, you will not be responsible for any copay when your spend plus the plan spend reaches
Okay.
$8,000. So those are some things to just look out for throughout the year. But planning ahead and looking at your Medicare plan is key. And so we would love to help you with that. And what we do is we look at all of your options. We'll let you know if there's a plan that looks like it has better coverage for your drugs. And the benefit of using a pharmacy for this is we understand the drugs, we understand prescription drug coverage, and if there's a drug that's not going to be covered on this plan and you want to stay in that plan, we might can look for a therapeutic
Right.
alternative or a generic, or no, hey,
Absolutely.
this drug will work just as well, it costs a lot less. And so we have a good feel for that. So call us at Medical Park Pharmacy at 252-443-7979. That's 252-443-7979. And just let us know you'd be interested in a Medicare plan review. We just need a med list, and we'll schedule some time to talk to you about it. We have till December 7th. So.
Well, Thomas, I was thinking, you can budget for the cost of Plan D. You can go talk to the pharmacy, Rocky Mount Medical Park Pharmacy. You can budget for Plan D. But you can't, but if you don't have a Plan D, you can't budget for the expenses that's going to come up. And,
Mm-hmm.
it could be so much, and you're not budgeted for that. So it's important to have what you need to give you peace of mind with your health and your
Yeah.
health care. It's just important. So I hope they will go down and
Yeah, and if
talk.
you're worried about that premium, on Part D and the supplement, if you're feeling like you can't swing those premiums,
Right.
the Medicare Advantage plan, there are some benefits of that because a lot of them have cheaper premiums, sometimes even $0 premiums,
Okay.
and they still cover drugs. There's some nuances to Medicare Advantage that you need to be aware of, but that's a good option for somebody that's on a budget that maybe can't swing an expensive supplement
Yeah.
or a Part D plan. So there are options out there, but you have to know what your options are and find the best fit for you, and we can help you with that. So we'd love to help.
Absolutely. We'll go down. Give your number one more time.
Yeah, 252-443. RXRX or 7979. That's 443-7979, and let us know that you'd like a Medicare review, and we can help you with that. It doesn't take long, and it's free, so we'd love to help you.
Or just go right on in there.
Yeah, just walk in.
They're in the Boyce Willis building on the first floor. When you walk in the back door of the big
Mm-hmm.
parking lot that I park in on the right-hand side. So anyway, go see the folks down there at Rocky Mount Medical Park and let them help you. Guide you is the word. Guide you.
Guide and navigate. It's like you're swimming in rough seas at times.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Thomas.
Yep, thanks, Sandra.
Enjoyed it. And we'll see you next time. And we'll be right back on the Don Bullock Chevrolet Morning Show.